Hello everyone, I am Shubham Sholaki from TechSafar. Today we are going to create a very simple and short animation in Blender similar to this video. Okay, so let's get started. Today we are going to use Blender 3.0 for creating the video. So let's get started. I'll enable the shortcuts. All right. So first of all, what we'll do is we'll select everything in the workspace while pressing A and delete it. Okay. So for the animation, we are going to make a bouncing ball. So let's add a ball into our workspace. We'll press Shift A, go to Mesh, add a UV sphere. We have a UV sphere here. We'll scale it a bit and okay, but the UV spheres does not look like a ball. So what we'll do is we'll just right click on it and add shade smooth. So it's a lot more smoother rather than having flat surfaces like this. So we'll add a shade smooth. Okay. So press N to have a coordinate menu. What we'll do is we'll press G and move the ball, and all I want to move it is in Z direction. So I'll just press Z and okay. So we have our ball here and I'll have it a bit down. Okay. So how do we know the coordinates? So there is a coordinate menu, or what do we say, coordinate symbol on the top right corner. Using this, you can either directly pan to an axis, or you can just know that on which axis would you like to move your object. Okay, so now let's just add a flow. So press Shift A, go to Mesh and add a plane. We'll use this plane to replicate a flow. So we'll scale it, press S to scale, and this looks pretty good. Okay, all right. So, okay, so we have a flow, we have a ball, and that's all. We just now need to animate it. Okay, so how will we animate it? Just drag this timeline up. So what is this? Is basically each and every frame is represented here. So say you are on frame 1 and you want to have an animation of 2 seconds. So I would like to render my animation for 30 fps, 30 frames per second. So 30 frames combined will make me a second. So today we are going to make a short animation, maybe of 100 frames. So I'll just change it to 100 frames. You can basically change your length of your timeline from here. You can also have 1000, or you can have even 5000. It just solely depends on the animator. We'll have it 100. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go to frame 1. You can just change it from here, or you can just drag the cursor. We'll go to frame 1. And I want that on frame 1, when it's frame 1, my ball should be at the exact location which is right now. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just press I and insert a keyframe. So what this does is that this tells the Blender that on first frame, my ball's location is this, with X coordinate as 0, Y as 0, and Z as 13 point whatsoever. Okay, so you can either just mess around with this and you can have it. Okay, so now let's go to say frame 15 frame, and on 15th frame I want my ball to impact the flow. So what I'll do is I'll just go here and have it like this. Okay, this is merely touching the ground. Okay, that's good. Okay, press I to insert another keyframe. Now what I want is the ball to bounce up and down for 2-3 more times, but each and every time I want it to be at the same height when it impacts the ground. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this keyframe and have it on multiple frames. Say I want another impact on frame 25. I'll just press I again, and another impact on frame 33. I'll just press I again. So what I'll do is in between, say on frame 20, okay, I'll just have it go back in the, okay, bounce back again. So maybe this much of bounce. Okay, I'll press I again, and somewhere around 29, I want it to bounce back again, but a little bit. Okay, so basically we just added our animation. So let's play and see how we have animated. Okay, a pretty decent animation for beginners. Of course, we can create wonders in Blender, but it requires time. All right, so now we have added a ball, we have added a flow, we have also added the motion to the ball. So now let's add a camera. Okay, so what I was planning is, like, as the video we saw, I would like to have a camera revolving around the scene. So what we'll do is the camera must follow a circular path. So there is a simple way to do it. So what we'll do is we'll press Shift A, go to curve, and add a circle. Okay, I'll just scale the circle. So basically this circle is the circle on which the camera will follow its path, right? So again, I'll add a camera. I'll press Shift A. I'll add the camera. The camera is added. You can see it maybe here. Yeah, this is the camera. So what we'll do is I'll just select the camera and go to the constraint menu in the right side. Okay, it's object constraint properties. I'll just select it, add a constraint, and in relationships, we'll add a follow path. So I want a camera to have a constraint with the Bezier circle to follow its path. So what I'll do is I'll select the target, and the target will be Bezier circle. I want my camera to follow the Bezier circle. Okay, I've selected the camera and selected the target. So you can see the camera just moved itself on the Bezier circle. So how will we animate it? Like if I wanted to move the sphere, I'll just select the sphere and move it around. But what about the camera? So I'll just select the camera, and here you can see an offset option. If I just move this around, the camera will move on the Bezier circle. Cool. So I'll just have it on 0. Now, if you want to look at what the camera is looking right now, you just simply press numpad 0. And this is what exactly the camera is looking right now. So it's not facing our scene. It's not facing our ball, but we need to record our ball. So what we can do? So there are two ways. What we can do is press R and rotate the camera wherever you want to. Or what you can do is you can just, complete it with the coordinates menu. So I wanted to rotate on x-axis to say 90 degree, and yep, we are done. So I'll just, if I press 0 now, yeah, I'm looking at my ball, but it's too much towards the ground level. So I want to move the camera in the upper direction. So there's a catch here. If you have linked your camera to the Bezier circle or any other path, you cannot move the directions, like the location of the camera itself. You need to move the direction of the path. For a simpler way, of course, I can move the direction, but it will change drastically, which I don't want it. So what I'll do is I'll just select the Bezier circle, press G, Z, and move the Bezier circle a bit up. Yep. And I'll select my camera, I'll press 0, and look at how it is looking. Just frame the camera here. I'll select the Bezier, go a bit up. Okay. I press 0 to exit. The flow looks a bit small. So what I'll do is select the plane, Press S and scale it a bit more. Okay. Okay. This looks a bit cleaner. Okay. So now let's animate the path of the camera. So I'll select the 40th frame. What I want is after the ball is done, it's bouncing, the camera then starts moving. Okay. So I'll select the 40 frame, select the camera, go to the constraint and insert the keyframe. Either by pressing this little dot, you can add the keyframe, or what you can do is just you can simply press I. Okay. For the second keyframe, let's add a keyframe at 80, and I want my camera to move 50 points, 50 points, and I'll add a keyframe. Okay. So are we ready to go? No, we are not. The thing is, the camera does not know that he is looking at the sphere. All right. So what is the thing that we need to tell that we need to tell the camera that it has to focus on the sphere. So there are two ways. Will go with the simpler one that, for example, the camera is looking at the sphere right now. I'll just record its keyframe. It's maybe press I. And for the frame 80, what I'll do is I'll just go on frame 80 and rotate the camera on Z direction 180 degrees, and we'll add the keyframe again. Okay. So we have added our keyframes, and let's check the animation. Okay, we are done. So now we have added our animation, we have added a camera, we have also added our objects. So now let's add some lighting and material to the scene. I'll just press N to close the coordinates menu. Let's go to the render option. This little icon will show you how the rendering actually looks like, or you can just simply press Z and go to the render. Either works. Okay. So if I press 0, this is exactly what we are going, it will render right now. If we don't add a lighting in the material, this is what the scene actually looks like after rendering. So I'll press 0 to exit, and let's add some lighting to the scene. So press Shift A, add light, point light, and now press G and Z to, move the light. So still no change. So what we'll do, we'll just increase the intensity of the light. Select the light, go to the menu, go to the object data properties, and change it to, see, 1700. Yeah, we have a decent light here. And now let's add another point light. Shift A, light, point light. We have a light here. We'll move it a bit up, and we'll move it in an X direction also. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll add some strength to it. Say 900 will work. Yeah, 900 will work. And just duplicate it by pressing Shift D. Press X to duplicate in X direction, and we have duplicated it. Go to 0 to check how does it look in the camera. Okay, it looks pretty decent. Select the other light, Shift, and press Shift D to duplicate both of them simultaneously. Press Y to duplicate in Y direction, and we have done. Okay, I'll duplicate it again, and we have a decent lights. All right, so let's add a bit more content towards the video. So what we'll do is I'll go to press Z, go to the material preview, or you can press Z or go to the solid, and I'll just press 0 to exit, and let's add a text. Let's add a text in our video. So what we'll do is press Shift A, add text, and rotate your text, because you can see the text is right now a bit flat. So what I'll do is press R to rotate, X to rotate in X direction in 90 degrees. Right now the text is not facing the camera, it's facing the other way. So what we'll do is press R, press Z, and 180. So we have our text here. So what are we writing in the text? We'll write Texafy. So what we'll do is press tab to edit the text, backspace to delete it, and let's write the text. I'll write Tech Sapphire. I'll press tab to exit it. If I exit the camera view and if we look at the tag, it looks pretty flat. We need to have some geometry in it. Or what we can do is we'll go to the object data properties, go to geometry, press extrude. So it will give a bit volume to the text. Now what are we going to do is we'll scale down the text, press S to scale it down. Okay, we have scaled it down and we'll move it. There is another way to move it. You just go to select the move icon. You can move it in the directions. And we have it. Okay, so I want that the text to move with the ball. So what I'll do, I'll just press shift and select the ball and press Control P and select it as object. So what it will do is it will make the text to be parented with the ball. Okay. All right. So we have it. So now let's add our material properties. I'll press Z, go to rendered, and we have it. So I'll press 0. And now if we are done with the lighting, let's add a bit more of lighting. I'll just select the light and at 2000 watts. And I'll select one of the light and add 1000 watts. Okay. All right. Okay. So we have enough lighting right now. You can just play around with the lighting and it's completely on personal preference. How would you like to create your lighting? Now let's add a material to the floor. Okay. We'll add a material in material properties, create a new material, name it floor. It's never a compulsion to rename the materials, but it will just make you a bit handy. Okay, I like to have it a bit dark, a black flow, and a bit of metallic and a less of rough, or maybe more of rough. Yeah, I will more rough looks good. All right. Okay, so this looks pretty good. You can just play around. There are n number of things: subsurface reflections, metallic, specular, tint, IOR. So basically, changing this properties, you can create many materials. And we will also be covering geometry nodes and shader editor nodes to have a full overview of how you can create realistic materials in Blender. So stay connected with that also. Okay, so let's add a material to our ball. So we'll add a new material. We'll add ball. Okay. And say, let's have a red color ball. Maybe. Yeah, we'll have a red color ball. I'll have a bit darker red. And I would like to be a little bit of metallic and a lot rough ball. Because it must look like a ball, at least. Right. And let's change the color. Maybe, yeah, this looks good. This looks good. Okay. And now let's select the text sapphire. And now let's go to new text and let's add maybe let's make it a bit shiny now. So what we'll do is we'll go in emission, we'll add little emission, blue tinted emission. Okay, so what it will do now, this does not look good. Let's add it maybe pink. No, not pink. Let's make it black only. Let's have a black color. Okay. And we'll have a emission of white color. Yeah. So I'll just increase the emission strength to 1.5. But why are we not seeing the emission? Because we need to turn it on. We'll go to the render view properties and just turn on the bloom and screen space reflections. And now it's a bit glowing. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just change a bit properties of the ball to, make it better. We'll just decrease the roughness. Now you can see, and increase the metallic properties. Cool. And just for the Texafire, we'll increase the emission strength to, yeah, this looks good. Okay. All right. So we have created our scene, and now let's just add some world properties because the world looks pretty bland. So we'll just go to world properties and just change the color to a bit dark color. All right. So press 0 and this is what we are rendering. So if you just want to check that how does your particular frame will look like after rendering, so you can just select the frame which you want like to check. Say I want to check frame 55 and I'll just press F12. It will exactly show me how it will look. So this looks pretty cool. We have a shining ball. We have a nice dark background. We have a good, floor. And now let's just render it out. Okay, so I'll just check the render settings. The render engine must be selected as Eevee. Make it sure. And we have bloom and screen space reflection turned on just because we are having some reflection. We would like to have some reflections in it. And then we'll go to the render settings. We'll select the location where we would like to render. I just make a folder on desktop, my first animation, maybe. Yeah. We'll select it. I'll accept it. I personally recommend to select the file format as PNG. What it will do is if you crash your file while rendering, you'll have a provision that you can start re-render from the point the Blender crashed. Okay, I'll just reduce the compression. I just don't want it to be compressed. I just want it to be at the most crisp render. Okay, and you can change the FPS. You can go to 30 FPS. I'll just keep it to default 24. Okay, you can change the resolution. You can change the aspect ratio and many more. So this seems good for now. And I'll just press Control F12 to start rendering. Okay, guys, so we have done our rendering and we got our 100 frames rendered. So how we will be converting these images into a video? So again, let's get back to Blender. What we'll do is we'll just go to this menu, editor type menu, and go to video sequencer, add an image strip, image or sequence, select your animation, press A, add all the frames here, trim your frame to 100 frames, and you're good to go. Again, you just have to check that your render engine is Eevee and add the location where would you like to render it. My first animation, video 1, accept, and here you can change it to AVI, JPG, or you can change it to AVI RAW if you want to have it, if you would like to further process it. I will just go for AVI JPEG, and I like to have 100% quality, and I'll just press Control F12 to render it. Okay, so guys, we have created our video, and okay guys, so we have created our very first animated video, and stay connected for more. Thank you.